Hello and welcome to the Navy Blue Corner. I'm Ian, joined as always by my good mate Lockie, and today is a special one because Lockie, you know what we've just gone and done? We've hit 100 episodes! Bang! Bang!
Don't tell me that's the surprise that I was supposed to expect.
That's the surprise. And look, that one is a lot more of a visual one. Apologies to all those people driving at home. Those were not gunshots that have gone off. Do not worry. There are a couple of party poppers here. I don't know how well that's come out on the video, but look, we're high budget. We've gone for broke. And I'll give one more. Come on, Lockie. 100 bloody episodes.
Woo! There it is.
Woo!
Sorry, dude.
And look, it is a massive milestone for us. I guess we're just incredibly humbled that you guys have stuck around for 100 episodes and continued to keep listening. It means a lot, and we're just really just so grateful for your support. And look, speaking of support, we are honored to say that this special occasion is proudly sponsored by Tonic on Chirn. Tonic on Chirn, located as the name suggests in Chirn Park on the lovely Gold Coast. It is not only just a fantastic bar with a great wine list and amazing cocktails, but they also serve some beautiful tapas-style share plates for everyone to enjoy. The owner, Hugh, is a massive Carlton supporter, so what's not to love? Look, we truly thank Tonic on Chirn for their generous support. And look, if you live on the Goldie, if you find yourself on holiday up there, or, as I implore you, round 23, our game against the Gold Coast Suns, make your way up, watch the mighty Blues bloody win one, and head into Tonic on Chirn. You are guaranteed a good time.
Far out. Love that. That makes me want to get up there, mate. I think we need to add that to our radar.
We definitely do. We definitely do.
Yes, well, we very much appreciate that support. And so we wanted to make this a big one. Our 100th episode. Mate, can't believe we're here, starting this in the midst of the pandemic, just for a little bit of fun. And we've made it to 100. Pretty exciting. Oh, geez, you've come so much more prepared than I have. I'm embarrassed.
I forgot the party hat. It's almost a bit too late, but the party hat's coming on. Sorry to interrupt you there, Lockie. Again, a very visual podcast, this one.
And this is why you subscribe on YouTube. But so we wanted to make this a special episode. Episodes, kind of a bit of a week extravaganza, would you say?
It definitely is, mate.
So we wanted to kind of, I guess, celebrate the Carlton community rather than make this all about us.
Which we normally love to do.
We are a bit of a me podcast. So this is kind of us giving back for once, which feels right. So we've gathered some great people and completed some pretty impressive interviews, I'd say. I think they went pretty well. All pre-recorded, so they're going to be coming out over the next week. But the names.
Yes.
Terry Dehghani. Terry Dehghani, of course, the GOAT of the Carlton community, as we know and love, from Blue Abroad. Connor Rogers from the Goes All Right podcast. That was an absolute ripper. Dan Williams, better known as Pommy from PommyInOz, a frequent guest on the corner. Then, mate, you sat down with Carlton legend David Rhys-Jones. How was that?
Hyphen. Oh, he was unbelievable. Gave up his time, which he didn't have to do. Absolute legend of the Carlton Footy Club. Premiership player, Norm Smith medal winner. It was just a lovely chat. I really appreciate that time. Hope you guys enjoyed that one.
So good. And to wrap it all up, I should say, tomorrow we'll be releasing our interview with as Ian put it here, the creme de la creme of these interviews, the one and only Anthony Koutoufides. Kouta, our man. So that was such a fantastic interview with him, and he was very gracious with his time as well. So can't wait to get that one out there. But as I kind of mentioned, so we're going to be splitting up those interviews throughout the week, and you'll be able to hear them all in full. But here you're going to get a small little taste of each of those interviews, kind of like our little highlights. So yeah, it was a bloody great time doing it, mate. I'm excited for the people to get it in their ears.
100%. Yes. This episode, it's going to be just the absolute best parts of each of those interviews, because otherwise this episode was going to go for about 5 hours long if we included the whole interview. So a little bit of snippets, but as Lockie said there, every single day this week, we'll be dropping the full interview, the interview in full, the whole bit with some amazing people. So keep your eyes and ears peeled every single day this week. But yes, we love doing it. We hope you guys enjoy. And thanks again for a great 100 episodes. Here's our interview with Anthony Koutoufides. It was an interesting one with that sort of playing group in 1993, have the grand final loss in 94, finish second on the ladder, fortunately have the straight sets finals exit, go on to obviously win it in 95. I guess what was maybe the difference in that year that allowed that sort of Carlton group to finally get over the line and win the premiership?
It's a great question. Yeah, it's a great question. I sat as emergency in the 1993 grand final, and I had an unbelievable reserves final series. I always tended to go right come finals in the big games, and but I didn't get selected that day. But 94, we had a wonderful year, and you're right. Like, we're on top of the ladder with a week to go, and we lost to Essendon, so we finished second on the ladder. We thrashed West Coast 2 weeks before that by at least 10, maybe 11 goals. I can't remember. We played in Princes Park, who then went on to win the grand final. So the final series then was first play 8th, second play 7th, and so on. And so we had Melbourne, who was 7th on the ladder, and we played all right in the first half, and then the second half faded out and they beat us. And then we came up against Geelong, who had, I think, 4 of their elite players out of their top 10 missing on that day. And we're like, oh, well, this is going to be interesting. And they just annihilated us. So we were concerned. There was talks that possibly Parker was going to get sacked and maybe our fitness coach, Peter Schockman. But I think it was Greg Williams that really stood up to the club and said, no, just leave him there. And the next pre-season, we invited down a sports psychologist. His name was Anthony Stewart, who worked with me in 1994 after I got dropped halfway through the year. And, he told me these words, I can, or will you just watch me? And he said, you've got to highlight them in your diary every single day. And so he had such great success with me. The club then employed him the next year. And he said to David Parkin, you've got wonderful leaders at this football club. Why don't you hand over the realm a little bit to them and give them a little bit more ownership? Now, I know at the pre-season camp, we sat there, midfielders, forwards and defence, and we all came up with this game plan that was very similar to David Parkin's game plan. And I don't know if that was the reason why we played so good that year. I don't know. I don't think our pre-season was great as far as I remember, but come during the season, we only lost 2 games to the 2 bottom teams, and don't ask me how. It was like, we were like in the meeting room. We're like, what has happened these last 2 weeks? It was like, oh my goodness, what has happened at this football club? And then we were able to turn it around. And maybe we had the most 95 was, I'll always say, the greatest year of my life, because depending on how you're playing and if the team's winning is how you feel throughout the year. And I mean, we were winning every week, and we were there, the most powerful football club in the competition. So you can imagine how wonderful life was back then. And so then, we went on to win. So the catalyst, I don't know, there was some aging superstars we had. We knew the window was closing. Was that the thing? I'm not sure. We got a couple of other players in Matty Clappe and Matthew Hogg and Dean Rice, into our team. And Camporelli came as well. And those guys were unbelievable. Brad Pearce stood up that year as well. And us younger players improved, and all together combined, we were just a phenomenal team.
Look, this will be the only time that we interrupt this episode, so don't fast forward, please. We're just here for a bit of a special, important announcement. We wanted to make our 100th episode feel special, and so to celebrate the 100th episode, what have we gone and done, Lockie?
Got the drum roll for you.
Oh,
boom!
Bang! We've got merch. We've got tees on sale right now. Bit more of a visual one. So if you're on YouTube, you can see them flying across your screen right now. If you're streaming, listening to this, unfortunately, you might not see them, but they are at time of recording, at time of listening, actually. They will be on our socials. Head over to our big cartel. They're on sale now. Hopefully, they're not all sold out, because I think my mum, grandma, all the family will be jumping on there. Hopefully, there's still some available for you guys. But the link to these on our big cartel will be in the show notes, will be in the description, all over our social media at Navy Blue Corner. They are hopefully lovely and beautiful for you guys. And look, all the money obviously goes to support this show and allow us to do some amazing things. And hopefully, if we can keep raising the funds here, hopefully do a few giveaways as well for you guys that we'd love to do throughout the season. But yes, that is enough spruiking for me. That is the only time I'm going to interrupt this episode. Back to the show. Here's our interview with Connor Rogers.
Well, I like where your head's at with Matthew Watson on the mind, mate. Give us some other niche Carlton players that stood out for you growing up, and the niche the better.
Yeah, well, one that actually pops into my head a bit, and he never played a game, but was the great Irish hope Asakio Halpin.
Oh,
Do you,
yes.
do you remember Satanta
Yes.
was running around and all the conversation in the stands was, wait until you see his younger brother. He's dominating the twos. He's going to be the next All-Australian ruckman. And I'm there going, Asakio Halpin, can't wait. Never played a game and never heard of him again.
Oh, one of the greats. Like, that was one of those times literally where you're going, look, Satan's okay, but his brother's like 211 centimeters, the tallest man on the earth, going to be a superstar. And just how did he not become one of the all-time greats? I'm still disappointed about that. Get that man a debut, surely.
Absolutely. Like I said, Satanta and his little helpers, but I don't remember Santa having a younger brother that was way talented than him. But probably maybe he did, and we just haven't found out about him yet, like we never found out about Asaki. Other than that, mate, my favorite player now, other than like aside from Cripper, like I put him aside because obviously after everything he's done, you have no choice but to have him as your favorite player. But other than that, mate, I am passionate about Jordan Boyd, and it really hurt my heart to see him get injured. The day before he got injured, I rang up to SEN, which I do semi-regularly, because Adam Cooney and Josh Jenkins put out a phoner saying, who's the one player that you think is going to jump out the ground at your club this year? I rang up, raved about Jordan Boyd, and Adam Cooney lost his head because he went, Rog, he didn't know my name was Rog. He said,
Oh, he knew who he was talking to.
Yeah. He said, Connor, I've only got 3 names written down on a piece of paper here from the whole league, and top of the list was Jordan Boyd. So we both agreed. Then the day after, he breaks his foot. So Jordan Boyd at the moment, but my Jordan Boyd before Jordan Boyd was David Allard. I love David Allard.
Oh. That's a good one.
Nice.
That's a good one.
I just love my favorite players are the ones that just know their role, very crafty, may not be the best athletes, but super intelligent and just have a little niche that they find. David Allard, I thought, was criminally underrated.
Have you got a thing for unaesthetic jersey numbers or jumper numbers too?
Yeah, Jared Keisha, number 37, one of the greats. Yeah.
Superstar.
That's what we're after.
Yeah. Jared Keisha, he was the big-bodied midfielder that you thought could do anything. Like, it's a bit of like a Tom Bell, but we've had a lot of false dawns like that.
Here is our interview with David Rhys-Jones. Yeah, and look, one thing probably gets spoken about, probably about the current Carlton group at the moment, is mentality, particularly after how we finished the end of last season and being able to have that ability to step up in those key moments. I guess for you, having been a part of premiership team and such an accomplished group as well, what do you think sort of makes or helps build that successful mentality and winning culture? Because a lot of our listeners are probably sort of my age that haven't been able to see a lot of success during our lifetime live. We've pretty much grown up watching the videos, being able to wear the 87 grand final tape out completely growing up. And I just love to know, getting that insight from someone that's been there and done that when we're at the peak of our powers, just to what is the mentality like in that winning culture and what sort of breeds that?
Yeah, well, as I said, when I got to Carlton, it was just, they were expected to win it, and the expectation was high. I mean, John Elliott, he wouldn't have a good look on his face if after a game we've been beaten, sort of thing. So it was the expectations were very high, and I think we're getting to a stage now with our group at the moment where they're putting some high expectations on themselves, and you've got to have the ability to be able to do it to start with. We had a bloody good squad back then. As I said, I think we won 86 and 87 reserves grand finals as well. So it showed the quality and the depth we had there, and so it was. It was different, but I think the guys now, I think they're getting to a stage, and I've been lucky enough. I'm involved with the past players, and I've been to a couple of functions where the guys have spoken about disappointment of last year and expectations for this year, and they're not setting any limits on themselves, which is fantastic to hear. And I think when you start thinking about it and you start thinking, well, Charlie Curnow should be a better footballer next year. He's going to improve a bit. Harry Mackay's going to improve a bit. Jacob Wiedering is going to be a better footballer next year. I mean, they haven't reached the peak of their powers yet. We've got Cripper probably at the peak of his powers, and in age and experience and everything else, and he's probably got another 3 or 4 years sitting up there. But these other young guys, I mean, and Charlie's missed a lot of footy too. It can get scary when you think these guys could be part of something very, very special. And I like the fact that we went out at the end of last year and we're recruiting a wingman. I mean, we're going for Blake Acres, and well, hang on a minute, we're recruiting wingmen. That shows we've got enough confidence in the depth we've got through that midfield. We're starting to put all the little pieces together now, and the expectations high. I think the competition to get a game next year is going to be fantastic too for a lot of players, and hopefully I put that pressure on all year, and he'll probably miss Sam Walsh for a month or so, but we should have enough in that midfield to be able to get by anyway. So we're running out of excuses as Carlton people. So this year I actually backed them when the odds first come out. I think they come out $11 or something, and I had $100 on them to win the flag next year. So I got on early, and hopefully I'm right.
Here is our interview with PommyInOz. What are your expectations for season 2023, and what for you has to change for us to make finals?
Well, I don't want to play finals just. I want to be in the top four. I think for me, my path for the course is skirting that 4 to 6 mark. That's where I am. I think that I'm right in 2022 as we made the 8. And I imagine the next logical step on the Voss plan was double chance final. And I think for us, that's where we've got to get it right. I think we showed enough throughout the year in pieces that we can compete with the best 4 clubs in this country. It's about learning that consistency. So I'm hoping that I think the best way to miss finals, it sounds sick saying this, it's probably the way we did it, because all the blame is on them players. They had 1,000 opportunities to make that right. At 8 and 2, you're pretty much in the 8. So for me, I'm hoping that pain catalysts them into another level, because I think these boys are good enough now. And I think the time for potential and the time for this guy could be good is over now. Now, I think they all are bona fide AFL football stars. And it's time to go out there now. And no shit slogans, no stupid sound bites. Just go in there. And you know what? You've earned your stripes now. You've got the best player in the league, Cripps. You've got the 2 of the best Coleman medalists now, the last 2 Colemans on the list. If they can't make finals now, there's probably no point having Carlton Football Club as a football team, is there?
It's worrying if we don't. I do not want to go there.
Well, it's there, isn't it? And we've gone through the hard bit of the rebuild. And now you can say the rebuild's over because these players are bona fide AFL superstars. You'd say 10 of the 22 would play in any 18 in the AFL, any club. So now, time's now. So for me, top four are don't bother coming.
Here is our interview with Terry Dehghani. And we'd like to hear a little bit more about your life as a Carlton fan. And we're going to start with, is there a moment that you remember when you were a kid or growing up that made you fall in love with Carlton? Or I guess a really iconic moment that sort of stands out to you where you almost realized how much this club does mean to you, that it's a bit more than just a hobby?
Start off with a softball question.
Yeah.
Can I give you one for me?
I'll give you 2. So there's the first time I went to the footy. I was like 4 years old. It was the very first time. I don't remember a specific moment. I don't remember anything specific happening. I just remember the electricity of the crowd. We're at Optus Oval. We played St Kilda. I don't even know if we won the game, but I remember this feeling that has stuck with me forever. Just sucked in. Just that feeling, the electricity in the crowd, the passion, just that feeling of joy and electricity. That was probably what got me hooked. And then the moment where I realized it's just more than a hobby was probably 2020. So we were in lockdown and we played the Dogs early in the year and we belted them. And I remember crying after the game because I'm like, oh my God, we're here, we've arrived, and I'm not even going to be there to watch it. So that's the first time I think I've admitted that as well.
No, that's
Oh, I
good. No,
love it.
that's yeah. I mean, like those moments. I know, like for myself, just thinking back, being a fan as a kid, there was something special about Prince's Park. Like walking into that, there's so many games that I probably can't even tell you who we were playing. I probably was too young to even really understand what was going on the field. But I don't know, just being there with this atmosphere where it was like 99% Carlton supporters, everyone just having a good time. I don't know. There was something about that definitely for me as well. I can totally relate to that, just being that moment where you go, like, I just want to be here every week. There's something about this atmosphere that isn't replicated in many things in life. It's just so much fun.
No, absolutely. It's a special family to be a part of. It's funny because, like, I don't know about you guys, I go a little insane this time of the year. I really, really miss the footy. Okay, it's part of like my identity. And then the footy comes around, and then by about round 15, 16, just so far deep in the rabbit hole that you go insane. So yeah, I'm working on the balance.
I'm taking myself back now to like my first game that I would have gone to, and I think the only player that I knew was Captain Carlton. I remember that was my favorite player at the time. I was like the man doing the cartwheels and the backflips.
So thanks for listening to our 100th episode. We hope you enjoyed all the snippets of some of those interviews there. As we mentioned at the top of the show, all of those episodes in full will be out, one released daily for this whole week to celebrate the occasion. Thank you again for your support throughout these 100 episodes and hopefully to 100 more. And thanks again to Tonic on Chirn for sponsoring this episode. Lovely restaurant bar on the Gold Coast. Make sure if you live up there, head in. If you don't, whenever you go up to the Gold Coast, pop in, have a drink. Tell Hugh that we sent you there. He's a fellow bagger, so would absolutely love that. But yes, thank you again for 100 episodes. See you guys next time.